Hello people, welcome back to my channel Study with Nandu, and this is the another lecture on the subject of human resource management. So today we are going to discuss about the most important topic, that is succession planning. Okay, so this is succession planning. Career planning is different, succession planning is different. So in this video we will be discussing about succession planning definition, its objectives, its process and its challenges. So let's get started. So before getting into the succession planning, I will tell you why this succession planning is important. Okay. So for suppose, let me take here an organization. So let me take this. So for suppose this is the organization. We know there will be levels in the organization, right? So we have low level, we have middle level, and we have top level. Yes, so three levels we are having: low level, middle level and top level. So this is the top level. Yes, so suddenly there is a vacant position in the top level. So what top level people will do, they will pass command, they will assign work. So all the important tasks to be carried out by the middle and lower level employees are decided by this top level people, right? So suddenly if the person in the top level has left due to some reasons, maybe it's emergency or by chance if his death occur or due to any promotion, etc. So if he left the position, now if he leave the company, now who will handle this position? Who will handle this? Now there is no one to command, to assign work or to manage top level activities, right? So there is no one to guide, right? So this type position is very dangerous to the organization. So why this situation occurs? Because organization has not prepared or groomed their internal employees to take or promote the middle level people or low level employees to promote the top position. Okay, so if this kind of situation occurs in the future, there should be a person who take this responsibility. Okay, there should be a person. So from now we need to train the employees. So organization has not come up with that idea. So it is necessary for the organization to develop and train their employees to take up critical roles in the future if necessary. Got it? So this we called it as succession planning. Okay. If you see the first point, let me erase this. Yeah. So succession planning is a systematic process of identifying, developing, and preparing talented employees to assume the key organizational position in the future. Okay, so we are identifying who is having proper skills, we develop that person and we prepare them for future organization position, right? Hope I am clear. Next, organization depend on experienced leaders and skilled professionals. If these employees have unexpectedly leave unexpectedly due to retirement, resignation, illness or promotion, business operations may suffer. Yes. See, definitely organization is depending on the talented and skilled professional, right? So if the people are talented in the organization, the operation will get smoothly work and there will be a growth in the organization. If they are not available in the organization, they can't run properly, right? So if this employee leave due to this any of the reason, then the business operation will suffer, right? So he may leave the company due to retirement or due to resignation or due to any illness or they got any promotion. Okay, if they leave that position, then the organization will suffer, right? Next, instead of waiting for a vacancy to occur, organization proactively prepare employees who have the knowledge, skills, and leadership potential to take over the critical roles. So rather than waiting for the position to be vacant, okay, so organization should priorly prepare their employees who is having good knowledge, good skills, and leadership potential to take these critical roles. Okay, so hope I am clear with succession planning definition. So what is generally succession planning? If the top position in the organization is vacant, then that will be a very tough case for the organization to carry out its operations, right? So to overcome this problem, company should decide the employees who is having good potential skills or good leadership skills or communication skills, train them priorly, and if this kind of situation occur, then you can promote that employee for this top position. Okay, so but for that planning we call it as succession planning. Yes. So let us understand the objectives of succession planning. First is preparing future leaders. We are preparing future leaders, right? So every organization needs leaders in the future. So instead of searching new leaders at the last minute or at an emergency time, company identify talented employees and train them in advance. For example, if a sales manager if a sales manager is expected to retire in 2 years, okay, so we are expecting that the sales manager is going to retire in 2 years, then the company starts training an assistant sales manager, okay. Assistant sales manager starts getting trained from today so that the person will be ready to take over at that moment when the sales manager gets retired, okay. So he will be ready. Who will be ready? Assistant sales manager will be ready to take up this position. So we are preparing the future leaders, okay. Next, identifying high potential employees. See, there will be a n number of employees in the organization, right? It is not that everybody is having the same skills and talent. Yes. So here company will identify the employee who is having good communication skills or leadership skills, okay, or problem solving skills, okay. So they'll identify the person who is having these skills for the future purpose, okay. So we identify the candidates or employees for who is having good skills, right? Next is ensuring business continuity. See, imagine suddenly the manager of the company leaves the company, okay. So he leaves the company, then what happens? The important decisions or managing daily activities, daily operations will get affected, right? So to continue organization work smoothly, succession planning is needed so that the another trained manager can take over his duties, okay. So whenever the manager, the top position manager leaves the company, the other person will be ready to take over this position. So he will be trained in such a way to take up the position. Got it? Let me erase this. Yeah. Next is supporting organizational growth. So obviously it supports the organizational growth, right? But suppose if the company wants to expand his business, so he is opening a new branches in two different locations. Now he need two managers, right? For one location, one manager, for the another location, one manager. So he needs two managers. So the company can hire from outside. There is no doubt they can hire from outside. But again, it takes some time to with the help, it takes some time for that particular person to take all the recruitment selection process to hire them. Yes, again it takes some time. So with the help of succession planning, the persons who has already been trained can be promoted as manager in the other branches. So in this way it supports organizational growth, okay. So instead of hiring from the outside of the organization, we will be already trained that employee who is having good skills for that particular position, okay. So if this situation occurs, then he can directly promote it, right. Next is improving employee motivation and retention. We know what is retention. Yes, we have discussed this many times, retention, right? So stopping employees from leaving the company. So if employees in the organization knows that the company offers career growth and promotion, they want to stay in the company for longer period of time. Yes, and they will be motivated to perform better day by day. Yes. Next, developing leadership skill. What do you know by leadership? We are talking daily, right? Leadership skill. What do you mean by leadership? It is not just about giving orders and passing commands. So leadership means they need to have a good communication skills, decision making skill, and should motivate and guide others if there is any problem. So he should have problem solving skills also. So if any conflicts occurs between any two employees, if there is any conflict occurs, he should be able to handle it. Okay, so this is the some qualities of the leadership. Yes, so succession planning helps employees to improve leadership skills by mentoring, by training, or by coaching. Okay, so this is developing leadership skills. Yes. Next is reducing risk associated with unexpected vacancies. Obviously, we are talking about succession planning to avoid the risk when there is an unexpected vacancies, right? So uh, that at that moment we can promote other employees who have been already trained. Yes, so from the starting of this video we are discussing about this point. Yes. Next, aligning workforce capabilities with strategic goals. So this means developing employees with the skills the organization will need to achieve its future goal. See, if a company plans to become more digital, okay, so if the company is planning to make all its operation digital, so it will train future managers in digital technologies like AI and data analysis. Yes, they will train in this way. Okay, so hope I am clear with the objectives of succession planning. So what are the objectives? Preparing future leaders, identifying high potential employees, ensuring business continuity, supporting organizational growth, improving employee motivation and retention, developing leadership skills, and reducing risk associated with unexpected vacancies, aligning workforce capabilities with strategic goals. So next we have succession planning process. So what steps we need to take for succession planning? First is identify critical position. First, you need to identify the critical position. That means the position which is very important for the organization, which should not be vacant at any cost. Okay, it should always be a person in that position to handle. For example, if the principal of the school, okay, so if the principal of the school was retiring next year, okay, so he's going to retire next year, so if that position is empty, then the school may suffer, right? So if the principal leaves, then the school may suffer, right? So because the operations and decisions are carried by the principals. Yes, so you need to identify the main and important position of the organization. Okay, so then only you can plan for the future. Yes, so the first step is identify critical positions. Second is identifying high potential employees. So after identifying the position, you need to analyze who are the talented employees in the organization. So identify the employee who is having good communication skills or good management skills, okay, or good problem solving skills, okay. So you need to identify the employees who is having good skills. So first you need to identify the position which is very important in the organization. Then you need to find the employees who is having good communication skills. So the next step is assess competency gap. Next, you need to assess the competency gap. If you have seen my last videos, we have discussed about competency gaps, right? So we have discussed this in the last video. Yes. So what is competency gaps? See, after selecting the talented employees, you need to analyze what skills the employee is having, and what skills the company require. Okay, for that position, to promote that employee for this position, what skills the employee is currently having, and what skills actually the company needs for this position. You need to analyze this. Okay, so this gap we called it as competency gap. Okay, we called it as competency gap. Yes, for suppose Priya knows recruitment. Let me erase this again. I'll tell you with an example, then you will be having a clear idea. For suppose Priya, there is a name, an employee Priya. So she knows recruitment and training. Okay, what she knows? She knows recruitment and training. But she has never handled salary management and labor laws. She never managed it. But company needs the skills, right? Not recruitment and training. They need who is good at salary management and labor laws. So this gap, we call it as competency gap. Yes. So this missing skills are called as competency gap. Okay. You need to identify that. You need to assess this. Yes. Next, after identifying this gap, train the employees on that particular skill. That means according to this example, train the Priya on salary management and labor laws. Okay. Am I clear about this step 3 and step 4? Here you need to identify the gap, what skills Priya is having, but what actually we need. Okay, so if there is any gap, then train that Priya on that particular skill. Okay, next is monitor progress. Yes, so the company regularly checks whether the employee is improving or not. Okay, so whether she is becoming ready for that particular position or not, whether she is getting ready for that promotion or not, you need to identify. Okay, so every 3 months, the HR director reviews Priya's performance here. Okay, and gives feedback. That means they are monitoring the progress of Priya. Yes, next, the last is review and update the plan. Yes, so see, business needs and employees change over time, right? So the succession planning should also get updated, right? So when this business plan will get changed because of the environment and market changes. Yes, if there is an environment, any market change, then the business change will occur, right? Yes. So if the business change will get occur, then the succession planning should also get updated according to it. Right. Hope I am clear about this point. Yes. So business needs and employees change over time. So the succession planning should also be updated regularly. See, this succession plan can be affected with several factors. Like we have discussed, there are factors affecting career planning, right? In the last video. In the same way, succession planning will also get affected by several factors. So you need to update the review of the succession plan according to the organization as well as market or environmental changes. So this is all about the process of succession planning. So what is the first step? This is very important steps in the succession planning. First is you need to identify the critical position. Okay, you need to identify the critical position, and then you need to identify the employee who is having good communication skill. Then, as is the competency gap, if the gap occurs, then train that employee, monitor her progress regularly, whether she's preparing well or not, whether she's working well or not, then review and update the plan according to the organization changes or market changes. Update the succession plan also. Yes, so this is all about the process of succession plan. Now, let us understand the challenges in succession planning. What challenges we face when we are starting the succession planning. Okay, first it's difficulty identifying the future leaders. See, we think it is very easy to identify the employee who is having good skills and performing very well, but in real scenario, it is very different for the company to identify who will become the successful leader in the future. Okay, so it is very difficult. For suppose there are 5 employees. For suppose take there are 5 employees. All are performing very good, and everybody is having good communication skill. So in this case, the company will get confused who can handle the manager position or who can take up the manager responsibilities in the future. Yes, so that will be a very difficult for us to identify. So this is one of the challenge. Okay, next is employee resistance to change. So resistance to change means employee don't like the changes in the organization and they are not ready to accept the changes in the organization. They want their previous manager to continue. Yes, so employees in the organization may not easily accept the new leaders or new managers. Got it? Next is bias in selecting successor. So what do you mean by bias here? What do you mean by bias? Choosing the people based on favorism. Okay, based on favorism. Okay, instead of merit or skill, we choose it by favorism, right? Then we call it as bias. So a manager can promote his close friend, okay, even though the another employee is more qualified or he's having more skill, the manager will choose the close friend of him to select. Okay, so this is, we call it as biases. Yes. Next is limited development opportunity. That means they do not provide any training or learning opportunities. There are very limited opportunities to learn. Okay, so a company wants to develop future manager but does not conduct any leadership training or any mentoring programs for the employees in the organization to take up the future roles. Yes. Next is high employee turnover. See, if the company provides training to an employee for 2 years, okay, so if an employee is getting trained for 2 years, then after training, he leaves the company and joins another company. He leaves and joins another company. So then what happens? Obviously, the succession plan will get affected. Organizations spend 2 years on him, right, to take up the future position. But what he did, he left the company and joined the other company so that the what happens here? The succession plan will get affected. So this is one of the major challenge in the succession planning. High employee turnover is a major challenge in the succession planning. Next is budget constraint. So next we have budget constraint. What is budget? Means we are talking about money, right? So obviously training and development programs require money, yes, but some companies cannot afford them. Because of this, they don't go with any succession planning program. So if they want to train the employees, they need money, but the organization cannot afford it, so there is no succession planning program. So this is also one of the challenge for succession planning. Seventh is changing business requirement. Changing business requirement. We have talked in the last slide, right? Business environment changes. So according to the market and environmental changes, business should also change. For that, the employee should come up with new skills, right? So as business changes, succession planning should also change. So this is also one of the challenge in the succession planning. As a business gets changes, the succession planning should also get changed. Next is lack of senior management commitment. If top management does not support succession planning, it will not be successful. Okay, so without support from senior management, succession planning cannot be implemented effectively. There should be a commitment, or there should be an involvement of the senior management to complete the succession planning successful. Got it? So these are the challenges in the succession planning. Hope I am clear. First is difficulty in identifying the future leader. So there will be, the company will face difficulties in identifying who is having that particular skills for the future positions. Okay, next is employee resistance to change. So employees in the organization don't easily accept the changes in the organization. Next, bias in selecting successor. So there may be a favoritism, or there may be a the company can choose a close friend of him, or the director can choose him the close friend of him for that position, right? So instead of selecting the person who is having good skills, yes, so there will be a bias in the selection. Limited development opportunities, right? So the company cannot will not provide any training opportunities for the employees to take up the future positions. Yes, high employee turnover. People may leave the company after training, right? So if the company is spending 2 years time in training that one employee, he may leave the company, right? He may leave and join the another company. So then there will be a loss for the company only, right? So this is one of the challenge for that succession planning. Next is budget constraint. The money matters, right? For the training and development, money matters, right? So changing business requirement. So according to the market changes and environmental changes, the succession planning will get affected. Next is lack of senior management commitment. So if there is a no proper guidance or no proper involvement of the senior management, then the succession planning will not get successful. So these are the major challenges in the succession planning. Hope I am clear. Now, quickly comment below what are the process of succession planning which we have learned in this video for your revision. So if you found this explanation helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Study with Nandu for more easy HRM and MBA lessons. Comment below what topic you would like me to explain next. Let's wind up this video here and continue in the next part. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this lesson helpful.